Hey everybody, it's Paul from LastLevelTech, and I am going to show you Batman Arkham Knight on the PC, and it is playable. Who would have thought it? This game is horrendously optimized. It's been a tremendously brutal port of the actual console games across onto the PC. I've always enjoyed the Arkham series, the Arkham City and the Arkham Asylum games. So I was really looking forward to Arkham Knight, and obviously anybody who's played on PC or paid any attention to PC gaming will realise that this has been an absolutely horrendous port to start off this game. I'm probably not going to go into the major details about the actual game. As you can see, I'm about 12 hours in. I'm 34% through the actual game here at the moment. I'm probably not going to go into the major details, as obviously there's issues with the frame rate, there's the streaming, the game world bugs falling out of the game world, the level of detail, the graphics, and the effects that are being used on the game. I think the major one is probably the frames per second. There's so many videos out there at the moment of the game running at like anywhere between 5 and 15 frames per second if you're lucky at certain things. What I'm going to try and do is show you how it's playing on my machine. I am totally sympathetic to the people that are out there at the moment that have major issues with the game. It's completely just outrageous that they've released this game at all, and I at least Warner Brothers have admitted the fact that they've screwed up and they've pulled the game from sale on the likes of the Steam store and on retail stores like Game in the UK. They've told them to no longer sell the game until it's fixed. I mean that's something, I guess, but you know, the fact is they still released this shoddy port of the game. I mean, there's been talk that the developers outsourced it to another company called Iron Galaxy Studios and gave them maybe 2 to 3 months to actually do the port, which is not very fair, really, I guess, because the Iron Galaxy are going to take an absolutely hammering for this. Here's a good example of actually one of the issues with the just the attention to detail on the game. If I use the keyboard and actually start the game and go into the gamepad options, which I tend to use for these games, is a gamepad. First controller I see is a PS4 controller, a DualShock 4. I don't have a DualShock 4 ever plugged into this PC, never. I use an Xbox 360 controller, and when I turn on my Xbox 360 controller and go back into gamepad options, I get an Xbox One controller, and that's the best it'll do. So things like the options and pause menu, which is there for Wayne Tech and pause menu, they don't exist on the Xbox 360 controller. You've got the back and start button, but they haven't paid the extra attention to actually maybe put the 360 controller in. So as you can see, they've probably just given them the code for the PS4 and said, hey, just cover this up as much as possible and shove it, some extra effects onto it and shove it on the PC. Here's the graphic options I'm using. So I'm Ultra HD, 3840 by 2160. VSync is off. Because I'm using VSync in the nVidia control panel, it's turned on in there. It's turned off in the games. Primarily because on games that I have, majority of games will have VSync options that go to 59 Hz, whereas the TV that I'm using is 60 Hz, and that 1 Hz difference can cause a little bit micro stuttering and stuff like that during the gameplay. So if you turn it off in the game, turn it on in the control panel, generally fixes that issue. Anti-aliasing is on. We have no idea what that is. MSA, FXA, whatever else, TXA, no idea. It's on anyway. Texture resolution is normal, no extra, no high, no anything else above that. Shadow quality is high, level of detail is high, and I've got the nVidia GameWorks settings turned on as well. I'm using the 3770K, it's at 4.6 GHz with 16 GB of RAM, 2133 MHz, 512GB Corsair, is it Corsair? No, sorry, Crucial SSD, that's the MX100 I think, and I'm crucially I should say, I'm using 2 nVidia GTX Titan-X's. This is completely overkill in every which way possible for this game, yet it runs like hot garbage. If I unlock the frame rate, if I tell it to go to like the minimum or the maximum frame rate to say 120, I will see the frames shoot all the way up to 90, 100 maybe, and then all the way back down to 35, 38, and then back up again, and then back down again, and all in the space of a couple of seconds. So you can see why the developers or the porters of the game have said, alright, shit, we need to do something about this, actually limit the actual frame rate to 30 frames per second and just hope for the best, and hopefully people might have the hardware out there to play the game in that fashion. I'm one of the lucky ones, believe me. There's countless YouTube videos and everything else out there showing that this is a completely unplayable mess, but I have managed to get through 34% of the story. So let's load it up and I'll show you what it looks like. The performance is like of actual Arkham Knight on the PC when it sort of works. Of course, there's some effects missing and blah blah blah. Oh look, level up with an options menu icon. I have no idea what that is because I have this back button. Bloody hell. Anyway, here we go. I'm panning the camera around. It's all at 30 frames per second. Oh, another thing. I can't get anything other than the Steam overlay to display the counter at the top right hand corner, so it might be difficult to read. It does say 30 frames per second at the moment. Hopefully you'll be able to see that and also understand that just from looking at the actual the fluidity of the camera movement that this is actually working pretty well. The reason being is that if I try to use MSI Afterburner, which is probably the de facto program these days for monitoring your temperatures and your performance of your graphics cards and your CPUs and everything else, it doesn't work when I have the NVIDIA GameWorks stuff turned on. There's some discussion as to why that might be, because some people say that when it's on it seems to be running in DirectX 10 mode, and others are saying that it's when it's off it runs in DirectX 11 mode. I think it's just a bug in the actual program itself. We'll find out in due course, I guess. Yeah, this is Arkham Knight on the PC, and this is running at UHD. So let's just zoom around here. I can just quickly flick over into battle mode on the Batmobile, as you can see. Control back. And yeah, this pretty much plays as I would hope in regard. Well, I should say as hope. Look at that load of streaming there as the above the road signs and everything else there as they kind of popped in. You do see that every so often. Let's try and fly out here. Just fly around the world a little bit. There's Batman with his wet cape, which if I drop him down and then open up again, you'll see kind of water effects and stuff kind of come off the cape as he goes around, which is alright. The effects are quite nice in regards to the neon lights and everything else, but there are certainly still some streaming issues and pop-up issues every once in a while, but not nearly as bad as what I've seen on certain places and certain videos. I mean, I had it once, like I said, might have mentioned earlier, where it just dropped me through the world, and I just kept falling. Every time I reloaded, it kept falling through the world, and I thought, oh no, I've lost all my game save here, I'm going to have to restart the whole game. But luckily, it pulled that back and kind of dropped me in about a minute or so where that happened, and I didn't lose any major progress in the game, because I would have been really frustrated if that was the case. But yeah, as you can see, I can fly around, I can dive into the world, zoom out again. Okay, and not have any major issues. I can call the Batmobile, which is here. Jumps in. So yeah, I've been able to play the game. It's certainly better than what I've seen a lot of people have had problems with, for sure. The controls do work, but obviously because it's 30 frames per second, they could be a hell of a lot better. I prefer to play games at a minimum of 60 frames per second, if I'm honest. Why majority of my game playing is done on the PC rather than on things like the consoles, because I have to make an exception to kind of play the game at 30 frames per second. I just really like the Batman Arkham games, hence why I've played so much of this, because I am enjoying the story, I am enjoying the game. It would be just so much better if it was a proper port. But yeah, there you go. This is it's Batman Arkham Knight on the PC. Let's just fly around here for a little bit. It's pretty smooth at 30 frames per second. And there you go. Actually, let's go and try and take out that car there. I can get my... Oh, I'm down here. I don't want to get down there. I want to go up. I was going to try and take out that vehicle, but I probably won't see him now. Ah, here we go. Here he is. Right, let's go and do this. Let's get lock on. This will be a good demonstration. You'll see the other tanks and stuff come in once they try and attack me. I'll show you what the frame rate is like. Have to burn her after him. Get close to be able to launch any kind of missile. Take it all down. Oops. I've lost him. That was very good, was it?
The hell is that thing?
Yeah, I've lost him. Okay, well, I'll have to catch him later, I guess. Yeah, so that's Batman Arkham Knight on the PC, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Just to show it can be played with the right amount of insanity about actually who wants to go off and buy particular pieces of hardware, I guess. Yeah, it's just horrendously optimized, and I wouldn't recommend feeling the need to go out and purchase any kind of particular hardware to be able to play it in its current state. I hope to God Warner Brothers actually do something about the game. It deserves better than this. PC players deserve a bit better than this. But certainly the game itself deserves better than this. It deserves to be in a proper playable state on the PC. And that's it. If you like the video, please rate and subscribe, and I'll see you again.